the stone and the iron. The work of stone and the iron deep. Cut the wood with a wall. Sword falls on
Want a
the
hint of where we might go after the Dale Lands, or are we going to wait to make the Dale Lands shake the world before we make that decision?
That's been in discussion.
What we want to do next. I am certainly open to suggestions.
Well, I mean, there's
not
3
been
or
made.
4 ways of doing this. You can go, what do people want to see most? Or what's next door to the Dale Lands, so we should cover that now. You see, you see what I'm getting at.
Right.
There are all these different approaches. Is there any lean or popular front or people's liberation going on within the ranks as to
Everyone keeps asking for pirates.
Where would you go for pirates?
I wonder. Well, I mean, I know where I'd go for pirates. All the people who import unauthorized books, they're all pirates.
You go to the Sea of Fallen Stars, I think was the idea.
Yes.
That is one definite possibility. Another one would be Sembia, which I haven't seen get a really in-depth coverage. Back when I was starting with the Gray Box, Sembia was like set aside for the DM to make up for themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
Practice that nobody did.
And somewhere I have all my notes for Tazir if Jeff doesn't have them.
I have them. I have
Good.
them. Yeah.
Excellent. Good.
Still have them.
So there's Tazir. That's one place. I
That
know
is-
Eric Scott to be was working on his
Westgate,
own
yeah.
Westgate thing.
Weirdly enough, Lori, my layout editor and also art director, made the map for Eric for Westgate. So
Westgate,
we
yeah.
have that. So it actually kind of blends artistically with what we've already done. But I think this was the full Dragon Coast that you were referring to, Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff was trying to convince me to do Dragon Coast, and there's a lot to say about it there.
There is.
Yeah.
His
And I mean, the 5,000-pound gorilla / elephant in the room is Cormier. But Sembia is the one that has the least stuff done about it that is up to date because it got crumpled by Sultansar Shade. So it's rebuilding. So in effect, you have a new thing to talk about. Then you have all of yes, I saw that. And then you have all of the vast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean,
Brian James really wants to do the vast.
Yeah, there are so many things. Just
If we went to the vast, I'd almost want to shake it up a little bit.
Well, you have Kalant and Tantris and Procamper and Surlegal as not properly covered up to date.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was encumbered for a bit because it was handed to the RPGA in Europe. I think that's Surlegal to be their sort of base.
Okay.
And then I did a bunch of polyhedron articles on a tiny little village called Masker's Eye, right at the top end of the vast. I think that covered like 8 issues. And I think that was one of the ones where there was a missing installment because they mistakenly printed the same installment twice, 2 different issues. Yeah, the things. Anyway, there's lots of stuff to go into, and then we get into George Crashos's baby, Impulter. I mean, if we're moving around geographically that way, but we don't have to. We can scatter shoot. We can go all over the place.
We have to start doing things like with the vast. I thought it'd be fun to have the vast. We'll have to see how much we want to change it. Have they unified in any way? Are they a confederation, a federation? Could I put them at war with Impultor? That would be kind of fun.
Oh, please.
George would fly over here and beat you up.
Well, not only that, you're sounding like a president or a premier or a head of state in the modern world, unfortunately. Oh, let's have a nice little war.
Yeah, they'll just take it over. Impultor is they're not paying attention.
Much. But yeah, there are lots of places in the realms that are not on the Sword Coast that need. There's Dambrath and Durpar and Var the Golden, and there's Rorn and Semphar, and there's Chesenta and the Vilhon. The Vilhon could end up being covered in 8 or 9 different products instead of 1 if you wanted to just go to town.
Right.
It's sort of like in real world going into the center of Europe and saying, oh, this is a nice little place. Let's cover it at 1. And I somehow think people who live in France, Germany, Spain, Portugal, etc., 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 would start to disagree with that view because they would think, my place is going to get slighted. There isn't enough word count. And that is a very valid argument. Let's do a separate one for each of them. And then, of course, it then becomes, how long can we all stay alive and kicking to do all these things?
That's the balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, also, whenever looking at which regions to do, I have to think about the DM's toolkit. How is this going to be useful to people who are not huge Realms fans? Can they use this for their home games in some way? So what about this is different than all the others? Like the Dale Lands is very agrarian, isolated pockets of confederated villages that could kind of slide anywhere. Went to Sembia, that is a completely different setting. And that covers the I keep getting visions of the Hanseatic League with them.
Yeah. Only I would say the Hanseatic League with one big difference. The Hanseatic League, because of where everybody who was anybody in the Hanseatic League lived, and their focus was very waterborne because of all the shipping. And the one thing that Sembia has, the Hanseatic League didn't have, is they have all these horse farms and estates in the countryside to the north of urban Sembia, where all the rich people have a hunting lodge and a hunting forest. Like the medieval England, you cannot shoot the king's deer. That's the king's that sort of thing. And they're horse breeding and they're horse trading, and they go away to your country place and have a little murder mystery. I mean, have a little party that lasts for a weekend, and there's a whole band of that. And the problem with, as more and more people in Sembia get to be self-styled nobles, wannabe nobles, they need more and more land, and Deepingdale is right there in the way. And then Battledale and Featherdale and Scardale and Harrodale, they're all right in the way.
Northern border of Sembia is obviously the River Ashaba.
Hey, that's Featherdale.
Yeah, well, and there is one little fly in the ointment, Arkandale, because the Arkan don't want to be ruled by anybody.
Yep.
That's true.
They have bought Sembia off several times, which is surprising for how small they are and how big Sembia is. Although I always get the feeling Sembia is not really all that good at waging war.
God, no, they're all too self-interested. Well, no, I mean, it's going to cost me money, isn't it? And it's going to take away time that I need for my 3 o'clock mistress. Sort of thing.
No,
wow.
Maybe the Hansa aren't the right people. Maybe it's the Italian Renaissance. So that's what you're going to get with Sembia, is this sort of intrigue with urban cities, very wealthy nobles. Then if you go up to the Moon Sea, you get cutthroat city states that are like one step aside from being pirates.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be a fascinating setting with the wars between Hillsfar, Flan, Sentinel Keep, Belvant, and Molemaster. And I think I might have missed a couple in there.
Well, there's Sulyasprin, which keeps becoming a ruin and coming back again, and keeps becoming a ruin and coming back again.
That's Sentinel Keep now.
Yeah.
Dead.
Mm.
We had to change a lot of plans when we found out it was rebuilt.
Yeah.
Our original plan had Sentinel Keep was still in ruins.
Well, yeah, but you see, here's the thing. We don't have a Sentinel Keep that is the mighty fortress speaking with one voice.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Sentinel Keep that's still in flux. And then you have how do you handle the trade north through Glister and places like that? Because that depends on who's making what money from what metals and who wants to be on top. And then you have to look at Vasa and Damara and and then we have never properly covered Saucel. And then there's
Wow.
How's those potions of longevity coming, Ed?
Yeah. I know.
Cheers.
I know. I look at my growth rings and I sigh.
That's one of the reasons why I was looking at good solid regions, kind of like the ones that were defined in the 3rd edition. So Dale Lands would be a region, Sembia, Moon Sea, and then like the Vast entirely. All the cities of the Vast.
Dragon Reach in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Reach going from Westgate all the way to Tazir, all of that. So you get chunks at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, we get new experts.
We've got
like younger people as well as older people who are experts in areas of the realms, which means they can carry on. And there's also another approach that I had a fascinating discussion a couple months ago with several young ladies who love to cosplay at a convention. And they were saying, yeah, you guys are always going horizontal. We want to go vertical. And I thought, they were getting rather risque for the moment. But what they meant was, you guys are always talking about covering the surface of the realms. Why don't we take a spot on the surface and drill down through the Underdark and give you what's underneath it at every layer, and then all of the politics and stuff that's going on there, and actually do some, what is it like culturally, socially, with the fungal people?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You'd see the non-drow who inhabit the Underdark, the Swerfneblin, the dwarves again. What are their...
Only drow, nothing else.
Yeah.
Nothing else, that's right.
Yeah. But I mean, they had a point. And it was like, you really want me to live forever, don't you?
Still working on Lichdom for you there, Ed.
Yeah.
And that one is with the Delves books. So when we do the Delves of the Dale Lands, we would be doing the Underdark underneath of it. I don't know if I could do a whole... If we're going straight down, that'd be, I think having that be like a good, solid, meaty chapter in the Delves is the way to go. So
but on the other hand, if in the Delves book, we hand on the news and rumors of stuff that's going around in a particular place, then you can have it at that. And if people start saying, "Hey, you mentioned this. You really mentioned this. Gosh, I want to know about it," then it's then you go, "Okay, I guess we
DLC."
Yeah.
We could do another DLC there, or if we can adjust the system, if the feedback comes back and enough people want a certain product, we'll definitely make adjustments. This is just the best plan I've got right now.
Yeah. No. This is it is so nice to hear this,
But one of the reasons why I want to have the Underdark tied to the Overland region is because a lot of times, like the way I run D&D games, is I will have them start on the surface and then work their way down, kind of the way Doug Niles did in The Night Below. Mm-hmm. And that it helps to ground me of like, okay, where exactly is this Glockelstug? what is over top of it in the overworld, and where is it going down? And if I have like a group to the Dale Lands, then I know it's under the Dale Lands. Or if we vast, we can have whatever Underdark is under the vast. And Tom would also want me to remember the overworld up in the sky. What's up there?
Ah, yes.
Cloud giants.
Cloud giants. I think there's a song about that.
Yeah.
No.
Good
I
giant.
think we have to delve into. I think this is an ideal place for it, Eric. Cloud giants. Clouds. We've looked at from both sides now to paraphrase a particular song. The clouds move with the weather patterns, unless cloud giants have a means of holding them stationary. And if so, we really should cover that magical means in some game detail. Is it like a stationary rod? Remember that magic item where you can just like put the rod and then you can stand on it, hold it as a peg, whatever. It's like, where did that magic come from? Oh, do the cloud giants have the same sort of thing? How do they keep their castle here where you expect to find it instead of over there because there was a global air current that
yeah, the jet stream came down and blew the cloud giants.
The Wind Dukes.
Yeah.
Give them meaning to that name at last.
Right.
Unless it, because the one thing I hate as an old time gamer is the Wind Dukes. Cool name, but it's a Greyhawk thing. So it either means nothing or we never find out what it means. Because we don't have time. We don't get into the lore. And so you're going, come on, we've had this cool name for 40 years, 50 years, whatever. Tell us. Surely by now we should have found out.
We will, and don't call me Shirley.
Find out in a rod of 7 parts.
Yeah. The doctor can fix that.
The old box set? No.
You know how many times we've done the rod of 7 parts in novels and books?
7?
Yeah. Although I did like the Staff of Waterdeep that was in that Night of the Living Dead graphic Realms novel. That was fun.
That's right.
I think that was Alan Varney, but I'm not. I may be misremembering.
We also have a broken sword.
Yes. Well, you have to have a broken sword.
Well, there's the shattered sword. There's with one of the parts possibly somewhere in Daggerdale.
But I didn't put any in any watery tarts, so that's an oversight that has to be amended.
We will put in many children of Eldof through the Dale Lands.
That's right.
You see, the thing that always caught me is, I watched that little bit of Monty Python and the Holy Grail when the guy's talking about it hardly seems a good basis for an economy, water, and I was thinking, right in the bathroom, right over there, I have McElligot's Pool by Dr. Seuss. Where the little kid's fishing in a pool that is about as big as your typical bathtub.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a little fishing line and a bobber, and the old man laughs at him. You'll never catch anything in McElligot's Pool. And then the whole book is like all the underground water-filled chambers, and it goes out to the sea, and there are sea serpents. And I'm thinking, yeah, we got to get those two things together.
That's true.
We call that the Pool of Yevon.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yes.
Certain times of year, something happens at the Pool of Yevon.
Mm-hmm. Since we were right with the idea that we can sneak in a couple new things.
Yes.
We gave each of the major rivers has a water spirit.
Of course.
And they often will meet at the Pool of Yevon to have whatever discussions that water spirits need to have on a yearly basis.
And if anybody's cudgeling their brains and can't think what sort of discussions they might have, I recommend you read a fantasy series by Ben Aronovich called The Rivers of London, in which all of the rivers and streams in London have their own god or goddess, and there are many disagreements between them.
Really?
Yeah. Not realms, but I mean,
Right,
it just
but still.
gives you an idea of all the cool ideas that are spawned out of something the moment you take a concept and sort of lift it up, look at it, and shake it like a snow globe. In a snow globe, you just get the same white whirly stuff that whirls around and around because you know what's in the globe. But when you do that in the realms, it's like anything new could appear in the globe every time you touch it. So be careful what you touch.
That's true.
Poke.
Don't poke it. Don't poke the bear.
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Sir Eric Mengi, the poker extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire.
I'm doing that with the writers. I'm like, okay, this is great. Can you turn it up 10%?
Turn it up to 10%. There you go.
All right, this is fun. What can we do that's even more? I didn't want to have any flyover deals.
Got it.
Every Dale had its story, and there was a challenge. And for example, Jeff got one of the more challenging Dales. He got another Dale, which can be so easy to gloss over.
Well, no, I didn't gloss over it. Let me tell you what.
So that's what I said. Oh man, you had some great ideas for it to the point where I had to tell you, like, Jeff, fewer ideas.
Yeah, there's the word count thing and I get it.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough to do, Eric. I have to tell you, that was the hardest thing. I finally had to just give it to you and say, go ahead, do surgery, because I can't do it anymore. The word count, I went so far, I like doubled the word count, and I'm like, I just can't take this stuff out. And
what's
somebody's
wrong
do
with
it.
that?
I'm still thinking about your 600-page book. What was it? What was the... No, that's Eric's at 6,000 pages. But the one you did for the Spellfire, wasn't it one of those that you did like 600?
Okay. Yeah, but there's a difference there. When I started writing Spellfire, I was told it should be a trilogy of novels. So that's the length I was writing to. And then Gene Blashfield Black retired from the head of TSR's book department for health reasons. And Mary Kirchhoff came in. And then it was like, oh no, this is one book and it can only be this long.
It can only be this long. That's
so,
right.
and I wasn't the first person to be told that. I'm sitting up in Canada with my typewriter, typing away, blissfully unaware that, so I mean, there's a difference there. I mean, there's things missing from Spellfire that if you read it, for instance, some of the artists said, where's this thing called Dark Horrors that they fight? I've read through the book 4 times and I can't find it. And I said, oh, it's right in the scene where
the
scene was gone. They cut it. And the artist said, well, I've got this order to illustrate these things called Darken Beasts because they don't want to use the name Dark Horrors. So what would a Darken Beast look like? So I found my typewritten pages and I read the descriptions to it. He goes, cool, I'm on it.
Use this in my home campaign. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for writing those up.
But I mean, that's the thing. There are ways in which you overwrite, and there are ways in which you don't know that you're overwriting because there are no parameters. It sounds like, Jeff, you just said full speed ahead, damn the parameters.
I did.
Yeah. And that's how naval battles are won all over the world. Unless you're the Spanish Armada.
That's why I said I had like 8 or a dozen NPCs, because Eric said just put them at the end of the workup, and I'm like, I've got one in every single shop. You wanted shops, buddy? Featherdale's got shops.
Well,
all of the Dale Lands.
Yeah, and by the way, those extra characters are never wasted.
Put them in the vault.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You could use them again somewhere. Yeah, he was Jeff, you were one of the ones who, like, I saw what you were doing. It's like, I am going to need a more extensive template.
I made him go back to work and make another template going, wait, this is what you got to do. But a lot of good things came out of it too. I'm not going to say, but we had a few new things happening in Featherdale and Daggerdale, the other one I'm working on. There's some new things happening that weren't there before that I think people are going to enjoy. So,
That is an important point. We didn't want to just make this a recitation of the past.
right.
Sure.
We wanted to update it to the current year, 1501, and then give it an extra twist for new things for people to have not read who have been playing the realms for a long time to be surprised about, that has happened now. Okay, like there's some different things that were built on the past, like Asha Benford finally got around to building that bridge that they had been talking about since 1376. But then we also have some other things like Assembra is a lot smaller than it used to be. It is trying to recover, and it was already kind of small. So Battledale is a lot more wild than it was whenever Volo went through. And the Deepingdale is even more elven than it was before, because they have a whole lot of elves that left Mithranor after the most recent crash and settled at Semberholm, which is pretty much across the river from Deepingdale. It's a quick, easy jaunt back and forth.
And some of the questions here that we have from people over on the Fans of Ed Greenwood Facebook, we've already talked about them. Where we're going to go next? Since I know Eric's been doing a lot of work on the Moonshades recently for Adventures League, and Wizards of the Coast covered that archipelago fairly extensively. Karator, Mestika, any of those possibly in the future in a few years?
To quote an attorney, objection, Your Honor, anything is possible.
There you
that
go.
Shouldn't be an objection. That should be the glory of living as a human being on Earth. Anything's possible, except being humans, we won't do it.
I'm going to put those both as a solid maybe.
Okay, but also we already have the next year or two planned out.
I mean, just from this conversation alone, it sounds like we have the next decade or two.
Decade planned out. Well, I didn't want to push that much.
Well, I mean, just from my thinking, the Sword Coast is pretty well covered. If we did anything Sword Coasty, I would probably go away from the coast and like inland, like to Loudwater or the Delimbir Vale, and Silvermoon. But I think where most places need to be covered right now is the Inner Sea region.
Yes.
Because that has not gotten a whole lot of attention between the Dale Lands, Moonsea, Sembia, the Pirate Isles, the Vass, Impultor, Chisenta. We could try to do something with Timanther. I know a lot of people are big fans of that region. I have to figure out how to work that in, because I think in this new book they made it clear that Timanther has returned back to Abir and is not in Toril anymore. But I have to go double check.
Really?
Yeah, but even if it's gone back, there could be names, individual people, and items left behind. So you could be Timantherizing a part of Chisenta or whatever.
True.
You know. And again, that's something that hopefully we can sit down and talk to people, because there are indeed people at Wizards of the Coast that we can talk to, and we can say things like, "Look, are you planning on doing anything in this area in the next little while? You don't have to tell us what it is if it's top secret, but just do you mind if we change something or write something?
Right.
Or we can just quietly not do that region for a bit until you get doing what you're doing.
Right. Well, kind of like we had to wait to see what the books had on them. And then
we were in a holding pattern for about 6 after they announced this of like, okay, what are they going to do?
It was hard because we already started writing and had to go in and go, well, they said this, I got to do this now. You can't do that. They said this, I got to do that.
And that's going to be the case no matter when you're writing in any TSR / WotC world, or where you're writing about and when you're writing about. That's always going to happen.
Right.
And it's just it's part of the fun, guys.
Yes.
It's the shared world. If we were writing for Marvel, the same thing would happen.
Sure.
It gets overwritten all the time.
I mean, look at what would you say, Thor and all them. They had Ragnaroks every 50 years, so they reset everything.
Mm-hmm. Every 50 issues of the comic.
Every 50 issues, they would have Ragnarok so they could start over and fresh again.
Yeah. And sometimes, like for instance, just to use a Thor thing, because it was necessary to have a big villain, so the goddess of death becomes the big villain.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a longtime comics fan, there's a scene, just a passing scene of 3 or 4 panels after one of the Ragnaroks in which Odin is weeping after a battle and he's holding a dead man in his hands, a fellow Asgardian warrior who has a blue beard, bright blue beard, who's dead. And she arrives to take his body.
Helena does? Is it Helena?
Yeah.
Helena. Or Helen. Helena.
The goddess of death.
Yeah.
And he says to her, and she sort of says, you have to give him up. Come on. And Odin looks up at her with tears streaming down his face and says, he was my dearest friend. And she says to him, do you think I like doing this job, my lord? Do you think it gives me any pleasure? So it was a beautiful little scene. But of course, now that you've written a new continuity for the comics, that's suddenly taken out of canon. And so great things are lost when we make changes as well. And of course, that's the problem that we all have to balance. And one of the reasons I'm so pleased with this project is when I see the roster of all the creatives who are working on it, and I'm seeing that there's somebody in charge who's sitting in on this call right there in his office.
Below me, I don't know.
Yeah, you were. That it's going to be good because somebody is riding herd on all the wildcats that are going in all directions, and is mindful of the fact, which because of the other people involved, the whole stable of creatives, somebody's going to mention little things like that from the past of the realms, like that Thor thing was in that old comic, and it's going to be thought about. And because we have people like Tom Costa, like George Krashos, like Brian Cortijo, like Eric Boyd, who explain away contradictions in canon and are used to doing it and are good at it and do it regularly, we will start to have a tapestry that doesn't just ignore things that were different in the past, but addresses them and incorporates them, or says, well, it's this way now and this is why.
We take from